Okay, we've got all the bits and pieces assembled, ready to go, so we've just got to put this together as a kit of drums, as it sounds, drum kit. So here we go. Let's start with the toms, and we've got some L-arms, which I talked about earlier. I'm just going to pop this one in here. Now I've got the screw on the outside. Now I see occasionally some videos and instructional type things that tell you to put it on the inside. Well, that's fine if your drums are going to be out here somewhere, but the way that I'm going to do it, I prefer them to be on the outside. I think you'll see why in a second. So I'm just going to put these in. Now again, often on books, the front page of books even, or instructional videos, you see the tom holders put out at this angle, and then we put the toms on, and then this one here, like so. Now, there we go. Try and play that. Not very easy. There's a huge gap between the two drums. Even if I try and move them in a bit, like that, I've still got a huge gap, and everything's angled really flat, so I'm going to toe poke with the end of the stick on the drums. So that's not ideal. We're going to end up with pitted heads. So I prefer to have the drums turned upwards and brought inwards. So if we just turn them around like this, and I've got these marked with the memory locks already, so I'm just going to pop that on to where the memory lock is, and this one also. And now the drums are flat, so I can rest my arm on here, so that's going to make it very easy to get round. And if I just lower these down, set these memory locks so it's about the lowest you can get these. There we go. So I've set this so it's ideal for our junior players, so they'll be using this kit quite a lot, I imagine. So tom 1, tom 2, that's right. Just make sure it's not resting on the edge of the bass drum here. So you might just want to raise it up just a little bit just to make sure it's not rattling. So they're in. Next thing we need is our floor tom. Now we have 3 legs, 1, 2 and 3, and these simply go into the boxes. Just have to undo the screw a little bit and tighten it up. There's 1. There's 2. And here's 3. And I usually have this kind of angled in towards where I'm going to be playing, so I'm just going to adjust the one leg down a little bit and maybe bring this one up a little bit, so just very slightly slanting in towards where I'm going to be sitting. Now the next step is to get your stool so you've got plenty of room behind you, and make sure you're sat comfortably so you can reach the bass drum pedal. Now if I put my other leg comfortably out to the side where it would naturally fall, that's where the hi-hat pedal will need to be. So let's bring that in. Here we go. We have the hi-hat. So we have the bass drum and the hi-hat. We need to bring the crash cymbal in. Now on these starter kits, often they're pictured with the crash cymbal over this side. It's kind of a crash ride cymbal. So just for now, that's probably where it's going to live, but often I advise students to move it over to this side just to start off with, where it's going to be more useful for them as a crash. And eventually you need to buy another ride cymbal and a crash and a splash and a china and lots of different cymbals once your kit starts to grow. That just leaves one thing, the snare drum. Here's the snare drum stand. I'm going to bring this in, and the snare drum itself. Actually, I think I'll bring this round right in front here for a second, just so you can see. I'm just going to place this on the cradle. So there are 3 points here. There's a rubber point, on each of the prongs, and then we can adjust the screw at the bottom just to make sure that it tightens up, and that's going to lock these off. But you don't want it too tight because it'll stop the drum from vibrating. Now I haven't tuned this as yet. As you can see, it's still sounding a bit rattly, so I'm just going to undo this so we can lift the drum off. Now on a snare drum, we're probably going to need, well, we need our drum key again. We're going to need to really tighten this up because it's only just very loosely on. Now I'm just going to do this by feel, but it's probably going to need 1 or 2 turns. There we go. So that's starting to tighten up a little bit, and we're going to have to do the same on the bottom head. In the factory they haven't really done anything to these heads, so I'm giving it 1 whole turn all the way around just to bring it up into tension to the point where it's going to be playable. Now if you like a tighter snare, once you've got used to playing a bit, you can adjust this even more. So I've just done about a turn and a half there. I'm just using my fingers just to feel the tension on here, just for quickness for this video. There we go. That feels about right. Now let's turn this over. The snare drum has these rattles on it. These are the steel snare wires, and these will need to be adjusted also. So there's an adjustment at the side. So this is called the snare strainer. If I undo the lever, it sounds like any other drum. If I do the lever up, you start to get some rattles. So I just have to adjust this thumb screw here. Let's try that again. Undo it, do it up. There we go. It starts to sound like a snare drum. So that'll do for a moment. Let's go and put this on the drum kit. I'm just going to sit this in here. Lower it down just a little bit. So there we go. Now my hi-hat is just a little bit low, so I'm going to bring this up so that we've got about a hand's width between the two. And bass drum, tom 1, tom 2, floor tom, kind of ready to go. Let's get some sticks. Sounds great. There you go, there's your starter drum kit, all assembled, ready to go. If you've got any problems, please you can email me on the website email, and get in touch, and if there's any questions, please feel free to ask, and I can surely answer them in due course. Happy drumming.